We all have them. Those little habits we barely even notice, the routines that just get us through the day. But what if some of those exact habits are quietly, sabotaging our intelligence? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the unconscious patterns that might be holding your brain back from its absolute best. So, let me just ask you this straight up. Could your daily routines, the stuff you do on autopilot, be making it harder for you to think, to learn, and to solve problems? It's kind of a tough question, I know, but it's so important if you really want to perform at your peak. These things have a name: psychological saboteurs. Now, this isn't about some deep character flaw, so don't worry. It's just a common pattern, something we often don't even realize we're doing that gets in the way of our brain's best work. And you know what the best part is? Once you can see a pattern, you have the power to change it. All right, so what are these saboteurs? Let's get right into it and unmask the 5 most common culprits that can chip away at our cognitive power. First up is one that's become a modern-day badge of honor for so many of us: chronic multitasking. Come on, you know the drill. You're on a Zoom call, but you're also trying to fire off an email and maybe sneak a peek at your phone notifications. We feel like we're being super productive, right? But are we really? Well, here's the truth. Our brains, they can't actually do 2 complex things at once. It's a myth. What feels like multitasking is really just your brain switching back and forth really, really fast. And every single switch costs you. It burns up precious mental energy and opens the door for mistakes. It's exactly why you might find yourself rereading the same email 3 times after a meeting. Sound familiar? And just look at the trade-off we're making here. On one side, you've got multitasking, which brings high cognitive load, stress, and pretty shallow thinking. But on the other side, you have deep focus. That's what lets us get into that amazing flow state, which leads to real understanding and a genuine sense of accomplishment. The choice seems pretty clear when you put it like that, doesn't it? Okay, next up is a saboteur that I think we're all guilty of this one: neglecting quality sleep. In our always-on world, sleep is often treated like a luxury, something you sacrifice for 1 more hour of work or, 1 more episode of that show you're binging. I love this analogy. It is so perfect. As we go about our day, our brain builds up all this metabolic waste. It's like mental trash. And sleep? That's the cleanup crew. It's the essential maintenance cycle that comes in and clears everything out. When you skip it, you're literally letting all of the day's mental garbage just pile up. And the effects go way beyond just feeling a little groggy. The cognitive consequences are serious, and they're measurable. Your ability to make new memories takes a nosedive, your problem-solving skills get worse, and your creativity gets totally stifled. Look, for peak intelligence, quality sleep is not optional. It's absolutely fundamental. Our third saboteur has become the default setting for so many of us: endless passive consumption. Think about that. Mindless scroll through your social media feed, or constantly refreshing the news, or just letting YouTube autoplay the next video. We're taking in so much information, but are we actually engaging with any of it? Cognitive junk food. That is the perfect phrase for it. It gives you a quick hit of something new, a little dopamine burst, but it has 0 mental nutrition. And even worse, it's actively training our brains for distraction. It's teaching us to prefer shallow, quick engagement over deep, focused thought. So just how big of an impact are we talking about here? Well, look at this number. Studies have shown that when we learn something passively, like just watching or listening, our ability to recall that information can drop by as much as 40%. 40! That's compared to when we learn actively by asking questions or taking notes. That's a massive cognitive price to pay. And that leads us perfectly into our 4th saboteur: staying in your cognitive comfort zone. It's that tendency we all have to just avoid stuff that's mentally hard. We stick to the puzzles we can already solve, the books on topics we already get, and the skills we've already mastered. This all comes down to an incredible concept called neuroplasticity. Your brain isn't fixed, it's not set in stone, it's designed to adapt and grow by building new connections. But, and this is a big but, it only does that when it's challenged. It is the ultimate use it or lose it situation for your mind. If you don't push your cognitive limits, those neural pathways you don't use can actually get weaker over time. I mean, just look at the difference in brain activity here. When you're doing something routine, something you've done 1,000 times, your brain is kind of on autopilot. But when you tackle something new, there is an explosion of activity. That's literally the feeling of your brain building new roads, getting stronger, and becoming smarter.
Our fifth and final saboteur is purely internal, but man, it can be the most destructive of all. Indulging negative self-talk. This is that little voice in your head that whispers, ugh, I'm just not good at this, or I'll never figure this out.
And that is exactly why it's such a powerful saboteur. It literally becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you tell yourself you can't do something, you're not going to put in the effort and the persistence you need to actually succeed. Your mindset can shut you down before you even get started. I mean, it really comes down to the internal script you're running in your head. A fixed mindset is basically a story of limitation. But a growth mindset, that's a story of potential, of persistence. It's pretty obvious which one of those is going to lead to more intelligence and more achievement in the long run. Okay, so we've identified the 5 key saboteurs. But you know what? Awareness is only the first step. Now let's shift from just diagnosing the problem to taking action. Let's talk about how you can start reclaiming your cognitive power. So here they are, one last time. Think of this as your checklist. Chronic multitasking, not getting enough quality sleep, endless passive scrolling, staying in your comfort zone, and that negative self-talk. Honestly, the most powerful thing you can do is just start to notice when these things show up in your day-to-day life. So I'll leave you with this one final thought. You don't have to tackle all of these at once. That would be overwhelming. Just by becoming aware of them, you've already started to change things. The only question now is, which one will you choose to outsmart first?